2 more of our favorite developers are on the show today.
Just in time for WWDC. And I'm going to show you how to make a goal on this table right here.
And if you're not making it to WWDC, I've got help for you.
It's time for iOS Today.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
iOS Today is brought to you by Aftershocks. Unbelievably comfortable open-the-ear headphones. Hear music and crystal clear phone calls like never before. Visit iostoday.aftershocks.com and use the code iOS Today for $50 off the tech bundle. And by WordPress. Turn your dreams into reality and launch your website at wordpress.com. Get 15% off any new plan at wordpress.com/twit. It's colder in Petaluma than it is in Winnipeg. That tells you something. iOS Today time. I'm Leo Laporte.
I'm Megan Morrone.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show where we cover everything there is to cover about the iPad, the iPhone, the Apple Watch, and
the Apple TV.
The Apple TV.
That thing, this thing.
Hey, it's WWDC week next week. In fact, Megan and I will will be here early in the morning, 10 a.m. Oh, my God. I'm going to have to get up early. 10 a.m. to cover Pacific. That's 1 p.m. Eastern. That's 1700 UTC to cover the keynote. And we'll be talking a little bit about what to expect in that. But we thought this, and last week as well, we would talk to people who actually write software for Apple devices. What do we have this week, Megan?
Well, this is one of your favorite apps. You keep talking about
I'm
it
religious
all
about it.
the time.
Yeah.
We are going to talk to first Greg Pierce, otherwise known as
Agile Tortoise.
Agile Tortoise, and he's the creator of the Drafts app.
Drafts is so amazing. Hey, Greg, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Where are you located, Greg?
I'm in Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Nice. I always thought Agile Tortoise, you must be like Australian.
No, nothing like that.
Nothing cool
Just
and
sort
exotic.
of, when I went indie some 15 years ago, I just was looking for an interesting name that I could get a domain for, and it seemed like a good combination for me. So
15 years you've been doing this.
Yeah.
Wow. Full-time indie developer.
Yeah, I mean, early on it was mostly consulting and stuff before the App Store came around, and then it's been a mix over the years, but I just do the apps now.
What were you doing before that?
I was in-house software. I was an IT manager for a manufacturing company previous to going independent, and I kind of was a job that had too many non-development responsibilities I didn't really enjoy, so
You like coding.
Decided to branch out.
I
do.
Stay coding, my friend. Stay hungry, stay foolish, stay coding.
Well, I like creating things. I consider myself more of a maker, and software is a tool to create products.
I like that. That's a good way to put it. You're kind of a maker, but you're a maker in bits.
So we've talked about drafts on this show. Leo's talked about it. But why don't you talk about what it is and how?
Yeah, I'd like to know what you
it.
think, Greg, because it's hard to describe drafts.
It is a little bit. I mean, the core conceit of drafts is it wants to be the place that you start any text you put into your devices. An easy way to launch and type or dictate or whatever. Just sort of capture all those tidbits, ideas, thoughts, tasks, messages, whatever they may be. So rather than having to jump around between different apps and go find the new button in Notes or, go over to Messages and find the right conversation to have to type something, you just want to launch something and start typing. And that was the original concept of drafts. And over the years, it's become a lot more than that. And I think other than just a capture tool, it's a great editor that gives you a customizable, friendly place to do all your text editing on your device. And it's an automation tool that lets you do stuff with that text that you captured. So there's an action framework that lets you send messages, email, save to files in Dropbox or Google Drive, and also over the years, it's got more and more advanced, and there's very geeky tools for scripting and manipulating text and stuff like that just makes it sort of your all-in-one shop for text on iOS and now on the Mac as well.
Yeah, I was really excited. And let's not forget the Apple Watch, because that's a big part of my workflow. As soon as I realized I could actually start a draft, and you have a complication, which is really nice, on the watch using typing or better dictation. This is another draft that I'm creating on my watch. And then as soon as I'm done, it all automatically goes into drafts, is really, for me, a great tool, because the idea for me for drafts, it's interesting that you see this as a writing tool. So people would be writing like blog posts or novels and stuff in drafts. You see people doing that?
Yeah, or, drafting tweets. It's the kind of thing you can avoid your inbox or avoid your social media stream, but still be able to publish something, just launch it and type.
Yeah, this is kind of the whole, to me, and I know this is why Merlin Mann, who's one of your biggest fans, advocates it. It's really a getting things done, the inbox and getting things done, a trusted place you could just, as soon as something comes to mind, dump, so that you can let go of it and then process it later. And that's really the key for me on this. So I can
save you a tap on the Apple Watch there.
Would you please?
There's a setting in the app on your
on the phone.
iPhone.
Yeah,
you have to do it on the phone, not on the iPad.
Dictating immediately, right?
Yeah. If you go to settings in the app on your phone, go to the Apple Watch section. There's an auto capture setting, and that means when you launch it from the complication, it goes straight to dictation.
You don't have that's nice, because that's what I generally want. In fact, that's how I used to have it, and I guess I changed it, or it changed itself at some point, because I remember last week or the week before, Megan and I were talking about drafts, and she told me, oh yeah, you could just enter it on the watch. I said, no, it's just for recording. So I guess for years I just had used it as a recording device. But as you can see, the one I created on my watch is already here. It is on my iPad, and it'll be on my Mac as well now, thanks to your latest Pro version, which is really great. And then what's cool is you go over, if you swipe in from the right, you can have a lot of different ways to process it. You can, and as you pointed out, you can program these, which is really cool, to do a whole variety of things. You have a very large set of operations available on your website. Those are using the URL scheme. Is that how you do these things, these actions?
It's a combination. There's integrations with third-party apps using URL schemes, X-callback URL. I actually wrote the X-callback URL spec, and that was part of developing support for integration between apps.
Nice.
Mostly to enable this sort of stuff for drafts, but also there's direct integration with a lot of web services and online APIs.
Yeah, there's a lot of
to have apps installed.
Yeah, in fact, I have to regularly go to actions.getdrafts.com, because there's always new stuff, which is really fun. And here's one, get Bible verse. Here's one in French, linky to Twitter to Mastodon, or Twitter and Mastodon. Weibo. So you have users all over the world. And that's really cool. And a lot of third-party people creating these things, which is really neat.
Absolutely. We have the community link over there is a great forum where users help each other out with different actions and, ideas for things to do with the app. It's great having a community like that around the tool.
It's brave of you, because I'll be honest, iOS tends to be on rails. iOS apps tend to be on rails. They do this thing and you do it, and there's not, because the UI is not well defined, it's different in every app. So apps tend to be very focused and straightforward. Very few truly open-ended apps. And I have never seen a more open-ended app on any platform than Drafts. I mean, it presents you with a blank screen and says, what do you want to do? It's as bad as Emacs.
Well, ultimately, when the idea was you capture the text and then you do something with it.
Right.
But the problem is everybody who uses it wants to do something different with the text. So it just kept growing. And most people probably have 6 to 10 actions set up that they use regularly. But for everybody, that's something different. So there's a lot of range of support for things that just to meet everyone's needs.
So one of the things we're going to hear, we expect to hear, is about Marzipan and
we're talking about next week.
Yeah,
WWDC.
WWDC. That you'll be able to develop iOS apps that will work on the Mac. Now, you already developed a Mac app. Was there some part of you that wanted to wait to see if that would happen, or why develop it on both platforms?
Well, I'm kind of on a multi-year plan, so I had been working on moving it to the Mac for several years before there was even rumors about Marzipan. So I kept moving forward with that. And I do think it's going to be a transition, and there may be a time that I ship the Mac version as a Marzipan version, that it's good enough and that's what people want. But for the time being, you got to remember that even when we get this in the fall, it's going to be something that requires the new version of Mac OS. The timeframes for Mac are much longer than iOS. People don't install the new OS immediately, or they have an 8-year-old iMac that doesn't support the new OS on their desk, and they're not going to be able to take advantage of Marzipan, and I'd be limiting myself in a lot of ways. And it remains to be seen how that'll work out in time, and I'm sure Marzipan will be good, and I'm sure it'll get better, but I'm not in a rush to jump on that technology bandwagon. And I think a lot of the technological information has sort of been leaked, but we don't know much about the business side of it, which is another aspect of what I do. I'm trying to make a living at this, and we haven't heard anything from Apple about things like, are there going to be universal subscriptions and pricing models? Because right now the Mac App Store and the iOS App Store are totally separate. There's no way to share a purchase between the two, or, those sorts of things we don't know the answers to yet. So we'll have to wait and see.
I kind of like it that you are, in a way, the test bed for all new Apple technologies. Like, if there's a new Apple technology like Marzipan, it's going to be somehow incorporated into drafts. No matter, you must use every kit that Apple offers, except maybe AR kit. Although I wouldn't be surprised to see an AR drafts at some point as well.
Yeah, that's one I haven't touched, but it does touch a large number of APIs in the system, and that's an interesting aspect of Marzipan too. Will it ship with support for 100% of the APIs in iOS? I don't know.
It makes sense that you'd keep doing a standard desktop version for even for those who haven't upgraded to the next Mac OS.
Yeah, and maybe there'll come a time that I'll ship both. Maybe some people would prefer the Marzipan experience on their Mac, and some people would prefer the more traditional Mac version. I
was thrilled when you added Mac support. In fact, it was what encouraged me to subscribe to the Pro version so I could use it right away. Now it's out of beta and available to everybody. But it really, I like having a desktop. I want everywhere I am, I want to be able to look at my drafts and add to the drafts.
Yeah, absolutely. That's our goal. It's taken us a while to get there. Yeah. And there's, lots of improvements coming. The actions aren't on the Mac version yet, but we're working on that. And hopefully by this fall, we're shipping, a fully capable version.
So the things that Apple will announce on Monday and all next week are going to be fairly important to you. Are you going to WWDC?
I'm not going, and amazingly enough, I've only ever been to one WWDC, and it was 20 years ago.
Wow.
And you'd think I would want to go back because Steve Jobs gave me a laptop at that.
Oh, nice. Why did he give you a laptop?
Well, that was 99, 20 years ago, and the big hardware announcement at the keynote that time was a new PowerBook G3. It was the bronze keyboard model, if you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of one of the last of the black PowerBooks before the titanium book came around. And to promote that, during the course of the week, they gave away 40 of them, one every hour. Oh. And they gave away 2 during the keynote. And literally, they pulled the big raffle cage out and spun it around, and Steve opened the door. And I was one of the names called during the keynote.
Very nice. Very fancy.
So that was fun.
Yeah.
He didn't actually literally hand me a laptop. It arrived in the mail 6 weeks later.
Oh. I see your 3D printer behind you, and I also see something that looks like you might have 3D printed.
That big turtle is actually ceramic, if that's what you're looking.
Yeah, I'm looking at the turtle.
That little one.
There you go.
That's some Gloomhaven game pieces.
Oh, nice. So is this a hobby, the 3D printing for you?
Honestly, it's been more of a frustration than a hobby.
Join the club. Okay.
But, it's fun to watch it come out good halfway through and then die 2 hours into a print.
Oh.
I know you're.
But it's been fun to play with over the years. My sons have enjoyed it as well.
Did they play Gloomhaven? Is that why you played Gloomhaven, or did you do it first?
We got it at Christmas kind of as a group thing, and I've mostly played with my 3 sons on a campaign. It's a great game.
It's a long game, as I remember.
Yeah, it is a 2 to 3 hour commitment to play around Gloomhaven.
Yikes.
I know we met on Twitter discussing our kids' robotics tournaments. Are you also into robotics, or just as a dad of?
My sons are to some extent, and they mostly got into it doing robotics teams and doing a program called Destination Imagination, which is kind of an all over the map program. And they kind of taught themselves Arduino and do a lot of stuff with it.
So they're geeks following in Dad's footsteps, it sounds like.
Absolutely.
How old are they?
I've got twins that are juniors in high school, and I've got a 6th grader.
Sounds like somebody I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we asked James Thompson this last week of PCalc, and I want to ask you too. Do you ever, as drafts becomes more popular, more people are using it, do you ever fear you're going to be sitting watching the stream of the WWDC keynote and they're going to announce somting that is
get
exactly
Sherlocked.
like? Do you ever fear being Sherlock?
A little bit, but not too much. I also, one of my earlier, more successful apps prior to drafts was a dictionary app called Terminology. And I kind of went through that because when I developed it, there was no system dictionary in iOS. And they added that, I think, in iOS 3. And I was kind of like, who's going to want to buy a dictionary app now? Yeah. But I've seen over the years, the more of the Sherlocking, I think, sometimes helps the market. Some of the features, like say when Read It Later came to Safari, reading list or whatever they call it, I think that maybe helped things like Pocket and Instapaper, because Apple usually ships a 70% solution, that's good for a lot of people, but it also makes people aware of the idea of using their device for that kind of task. And then they maybe go out and look for something better. I don't think Apple shipping a podcast app really hurt the market for third-party podcast apps. It just got more people listening to podcasts and more people saying, well, this one doesn't do that, and maybe they go look for a better app. So I don't worry too much about stuff like that.
I think they would never do anything like drafts. The closest thing they have to drafts is shortcuts. It's the only other kind of completely open, do what you want product they have. And it's hard enough for them to explain and get people to use shortcuts. I don't think they'd had something as open as drafts somehow. It just doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I think I'm okay there.
I think you're safe. But I think it's great because drafts becomes a test bed, as I said, for every new, iOS, Mac OS integration, and there's a lot. You write it, I presume, in Xcode. Do you work in Objective-C or Swift?
The current version is nearly 100% Swift. There's just some areas that it still makes sense to write in Objective-C or the Swift bridging causes performance problems or something, but most of it's Swift. And the Drafts 5 version of the app was a complete ground-up rewrite, and I brought it to Swift at that time.
It sounds like you like Swift.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I feel like there's some pain points the first few years, mostly with transitions and growth in the language, but it's been stabilizing, and I write better code in it. It's got a lot of friendly compiler tools that help prevent you from doing things, shooting yourself in the foot, kind of things that are easy to do in Objective-C that you can avoid if you're good at it, but it just helps catch a lot of those errors.
Is it the strict typing? Is it the kind of functional style?
Yeah, it's the typing. And I mean, prior to Objective-C, I was doing a lot of web stuff in Ruby and other languages, so it's kind of got a more friendly syntax to me.
Yeah. Well, we love drafts. Thank you for making a great program. And everybody who hasn't tried drafts, you could try it for free, right? Am I wrong?
Absolutely. It's very functional, free version. It syncs, and you can use it as long as you like. Edit, create, sync.
Apparently your chief financial officer does not like you to mention the free version.
Make
She's very upset.
Well, honestly, I think it's a good thing for drafts because it is kind of a weird animal, and sometimes people have it on their device for months before it clicks with them. And if I limit people to a 7-day trial or something, I think I will lose some customers.
Drafts is one of those programs that requires you to think about how you use the computer in a way. It modifies you as much as it does the computer. But once you find those pathways, it's one of those things you can't live without. I mean, it's which makes me ask, when are you going to do an Android version?
You know how we mentioned it touches a lot of different APIs?
Yeah.
Not all of this exists on Android. And I'm kind of committed to the Apple platform and using CloudKit and stuff. I think it's best to use a backend like that where you know someone cares about your privacy.
Nice. So I guess the answer is never. That's okay with me. I will keep using drafts on my Apple Watch, on my iPhone, on my iPad, and now on my Mac OS. Agile Tortoise is the place, and just search for drafts on the App Store, and you'll love it. I haven't tried these other ones. I have to try.
I pretty much do drafts these days.
Yeah,
the others are
older
apps.
What is services?
Well, that's my consulting end, and I'm not really accepting new consulting business these days.
Good. Good. We draft users like hearing that.
Yeah. I'm excited to use it. I hadn't thought about using it to send tweets to avoid actually going to Twitter, which that's a great idea.
How many times have I explained?
Well, I never thought of it in that because I get like absorbed in consuming.
I know.
So
and as soon as you start looking at Twitter, it's like, well, forget the tweet. I want to.
So that's that's my goal.
Live in drafts, and life will be better. That's my motto.
Thank you so much, Greg.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's
great
been fun
to talk to you.
Right.
Take care. Oh, I love him. And I love drafts. I really do.
I do too.
Aren't developers the nicest people?
I've never met a developer that I didn't like.
There's something, I don't know what it is. I mean, there are cranky developers.
Right. I don't know
God
that.
knows.
I haven't. Yeah.
But do you know what? I liked what he said at the very beginning. For him, it's art, it's creativity, it's creation. Somebody who's writing something like this, especially because they're not working in a big company with a large team, they're doing it kind of on their own. It's like writing a novel or painting a painting. It really is an act of creation. So it is, and it is very satisfying. It's really cool. Drafts, where text starts. But that's not it for the developers today.
No, we're after we thank our sponsor, we're going to talk to Jean MacDonald.
I love Jean. We've known Jean for years.
Yes, but before that, let's talk about our.
Let me put on my special Geordie headset. Look at this. This is the best headset you will ever get. These are my Aftershocks. Unbelievably comfortable. They don't even go in your ear. They use a patented bone conduction technology. They don't go inside your ear, so there's no, I have ear fatigue. When I wear anything in my ear, after a while I go, these, I put on my Aftershocks. If I have a busy day of conference calls, for instance, I'll put on the Aftershocks at the beginning of the day, and I just walk around with them all the time. It's a really great way to do conference calls or listen to your audiobooks or listen to great music. They don't fall out, so they're great for sports. And because they don't block your ear, they're great for runners and bicyclers who are out in the real world and have to hear cars and other obstacles. They don't block your hearing. They completely bypass your eardrum. In fact, Aftershocks come with earplugs you can put in if you want to just demonstrate that you're not going through your ear hole. In fact, it's a really interesting experience when you put in the earplugs. The bass gets even richer and deeper. The titanium wraparound headband is very lightweight and flexible for durability and portability, and that's one of the reasons you don't lose your Aftershocks. They're really secure on your head, and they're not separate items. Crystal clear phone calls and music. You'll sound better than ever, too. People, never ask me, what are you using? When I'm on a phone call, because they can hear me perfectly. There's something called premium pitch, which guarantees a premium audio experience with wide dynamic range and rich bass. I think the bass is actually better because it's coming through your cheekbone there. They're wireless Bluetooth 4.1 multi-point pairing, which I really like. In fact, Lisa borrows my Aftershocks. We paired it to her phone too, and she can borrow my Aftershocks when she's wants to do a conference call.
And she doesn't have to worry about getting your earwax in her ears.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. It's kind of hygienic to share. IP55 certified, so they'll repel sweat, dust, and moisture for running in the rain. Don't worry. Really lasts a long time. 6 hours, I can wear it all day, as I said, of continuous music and calls on a single charge. 10-day standby time. They charge fast, too, in about an hour and a half, and they have a 2-year hassle-free warranty. I love my Aftershocks. It's Aftershocks spelled with a KZ at the end, AFTERSHOKZ.com. In fact, if you go to iostoday.aftershocks.com, we've got a special deal for you. A tech bundle, $50 off, that includes the Trex Air, a pop socket for your phone, a large portable storage case, portable power bank, and a travel tumbler insulator, and you get $50 off. Our way of saying thank you, iostoday.aftershocks.com, and use the code iOSToday at checkout to get $50 off. The offer is valid in the U.S. only. I'm sorry. That's just some limitations of this deal. But if you're in the U.S., iostoday.aftershocks.com. Use the code iOSToday for $50 off. If you're not, still go to that URL because that'll let them know you heard it here. We love our Aftershocks. Thank you, Aftershocks, for a great product and for supporting iOS Today. iostoday.aftershocks.com.
So do you remember when we last spoke together to Jean MacDonald?
I do not.
It was on Jumping Monkeys.
Huh?
What? She had. There she is giggling. She was an ant. You had
still an ant. Yeah.
Auntie Jean.
Yes. Hello, Jean.
Oh, it's so nice to see you. Hi, Jean.
So you
So
were.
fun to see you.
You were everyone's favorite ant, and
Yes.
still are. I'm sure.
Still am.
So
easily.
Jean, we first knew Jean when she worked at Smile, and of course was a fantastic advocate for one of my favorite programs, Text Expander, and then you I know currently you're community director for Micro.Blog, which I strongly support. This is a indie web version, open web version of Twitter. So if you're done with the Twitter experience, Micro.Blog. But it's also App Camp for Girls, where I really think this is a great project you're working on, and I just applaud you. And it's how many years now? You've really had some success.
Yeah, well, we started the camps in 2013, and we ran them every summer and 6 summers in a row. So over 250 kids who attended and got to learn how to make an app, and that's more than just coding. They learned the design, the brainstorming, the marketing even, and we did pitch sessions with the girls at the end of the week, and that was kind of our recital. So the parents came and the kids put on a presentation about the apps they created that week, how much they would charge for them, how they would make money, etc.
And you modeled it after a rock camp, right?
Yes.
Like where you'd create a song.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Rock camp is like you come in, you learn an instrument, you join a band, you write a song, and then you perform it on the last day of camp at a big music venue, like not just a camp. So it's very exciting, and it's so empowering because it just takes kids from a position of thinking, I don't even know how I would do that. I don't think I'm good enough to do that, to suddenly they're a rock star. So I wanted that rock star experience for kids who wanted to make apps.
The other thing I loved about App Camp was that you don't have to be a coder. There's this kind of thing floating around that every kid should be a coder. And you know what? Not every kid wants to be a coder. Not every kid has what it takes to be a coder. But in every app, there's more than just the person who's typing on the keyboard. There's people who are designing the marketing, who are designing the UI, the assets, the graphics. There's so many jobs around software development that I think there's a job for any child. And it's wonderful to get girls to the point where they see, oh, I could have a role in this. But there's some very sad news about App Camp that just breaks my heart.
Yeah, you will not be alone in that heartbreaking experience. Basically, it comes down to this summer, the enrollment was just not there to put on the camps that were planned, and the board decided that rather than try to somehow scramble to fill up the camps in the last month before summer, to step back and say, we have worked hard at these camps, and every year, they've been awesome, but they've also gotten harder to put on. We've been burning out volunteers at a rate that isn't sustainable, and we need to. I say we. I'm actually not on the board. In fact, I stepped back from all of my official app camp responsibilities in 2017.
That's what went wrong. They lost you.
Well, you could argue that because I was working for free, and that's. And when you have somebody working for free doing everything, that does seem really sustainable. Look at this! Oh my goodness, what we can do! But when you actually want to recruit professional nonprofit staff, they don't work for free, and
it's expensive.
My plan was to do it just for a short amount of time, but of course I loved camp, and I kept going with it. Longer than at that bargain basement price of free than I should have.
So we should say this had nothing to do with the lack of interest. Girls don't. This is a show. Girls don't want to be.
That's right. Oh no, it's nothing like that.
It was just sustaining and growing.
It's expensive.
Yeah, very expensive. Yeah. As you know, we have very expensive equipment for one thing. But more it was the hands-on. Necessity of the staff, because if you're going to teach kids to go from zero to finished app in 5 days, you need some very low, counselor to camper ratios, and so we had a lot of volunteers. Generally there were as many adults involved in a session of camp as there were kids that were being served. And it was wonderful. I mean, and they learned so much, but that's just not a sustainable model. And there are a whole lot more options for kids these days in the coding and, app making world. And that's another reason, that while it's bittersweet to say, we did what we could with this model that we thought we could work, but we really, we didn't understand the sustainability challenges till, we were pretty far into it. But there are other things that the kids can do. An app camp, our name is App Camp for Girls, but we do serve girls and transgender and gender non-binary youth, which is another way that the camp evolved over time too, is that, that became important to us fairly early on.
Yeah. No boys allowed. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. It's a terrible,
That's the wrong way to think of it. It's a chance to give an opportunity to girls who are normally and transgender and gender neutral, who are normally ignored in the workplace, especially in the technical workplaces. So I think it was a great way to do a leg up. I'm really so proud of the work you did, and it shouldn't be in any way seen as a rejection of that. It's a transition.
We have a very, very supportive community around us, and I did write a super long blog post about my take on how we tried and what we tried and why it maybe doesn't work. But I've gotten a lot of super nice responses to that. And also, we still have our WWDC benefit show. James Dempsey and the Breakpoints puts that on every year. And the announcement from the board really came too late for us to say, let's rejigger the whole show, the whole premise of the show, because, we had everything in place for an App Camp fundraiser. And so the fundraising, still takes place. The tickets that people buy will still go to App Camp to be part of the assets that we use to figure out how to forward the mission in other ways. But we announced that, and everybody's been really supportive of that as well. And I'm really, really grateful that we have such cool people in our community. Because,
so live near WWDC will still, I love the name, will still go on.
Yeah, well, that's James. That's all James. Yeah.
That's great. That's really
We're
great.
very near it, this year, especially and last year in San Jose, because we're at the Ritz, which is like a block away from the convention center in San Jose.
Fun.
So will you be at the conference itself?
I won't be a ticket holder for Apple's conference, but I will be in town. My primary thing that I look forward to, besides playing guitar with James Dempsey, is the Micro.Blog meetup. We do a meetup every year, and it's been really cool because we started out really small, and now this will be our third annual meetup of what we call a micro meetup. And for us, that is the most interesting part of WWDC, because while we have 3 apps that support blogging and photo blogging and microcasting, and of course we're interested in what Apple does with iOS and with Marzipan, for us the big lab for Micro.Blog is to meet up with the community, because the community is what Micro.Blog is. The apps are tools for that. So that's pretty exciting for us.
Micro.Blog was it a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo project?
Kickstarter,
Kickstarter, and I was an original contributor and used it for a long time. Micro.Blog, Manton Reese's indie web version of Twitter, and it really is a nice community. Gene is Mac Genie, MacGenie, on Micro.Blog, and is it doing well? Because I really love it. They added the ability to blog audio now, which was, I thought, a very nice feature.
Yeah, well, that's actual support for podcasts, microcasts, as we say, of course. But and I've encouraged a lot of people to start new microcasts, and we support it, so there's a XML feed for your podcast that can be picked up by Apple. But we also have we just added video support to the apps, and that means you can upload a short video, 1 or 2 minutes, and people have really taken to that, like coming up with creative stuff or just little slice of life videos that have been pretty cool.
How fun!
It's doing well. I think our community is super strong, and we got mentioned in the New Yorker last week. So now
I saw that. I went, oh my God! It was you and Mastodon. That was awesome.
I know.
There was a whole article on alternative, indie web responses to Facebook and Twitter, and Micro.Blog featured prominently, as it should, I think. And you do a podcast. In fact, it's today, or it was yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday, Micro Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been super gratifying, both for me and Manton, to see people, because a lot of people come over from Twitter. They look at Micro.Blog's interface and think, oh, it's like Twitter. Maybe it's like app.net all over again. And then they were like, where are the likes? Where are the retweets? Where are the hashtags?
That's why we like it, that it's not there.
It takes a while to get used to it, myself included. I definitely, I thought maybe Manton forgot a few features when I first started working with him. And then once you get used to it, you realize there is a bit of that drug, that hit of, of pleasure hormones when somebody likes your thing and you go, oh, they liked it, and you keep looking for that. But if you're on a platform where it's not that people don't like what you're doing, it's just that if they want you to know about it, they have to actually write a post and say, hey, great photo or great podcast, or, thanks for that link or whatever. And so it's much more engaged. The people are much more engaged as a community over there. And, we do have community guidelines. Our goal is to be, harassment-free, ad-free, place for people to interact like in the olden days.
And to that end, of course, it's not free.
Our business model is that we are a hosting company. So if you want to have a blog, host it at Micro.Blog, it's $5 a month. But we have a lot of users though who align their, say, WordPress blog or whatever Blot or Hugo or whatever they're on, and send their feed to our timeline so they can interact with Micro.Blog hosted blogs.
Oh, that's what I was paying for. Got it.
Yeah, the idea is that that every by using open standards and indie web standards, that no one location is a silo unto itself, where you can only get in if you are part of that, if you sign up and register for that particular community. You do have to register for a username. But yeah, once people see how easy it is to blog with Micro.Blog, some of the people who come over, and just plug in their WordPress blog, for example, and then they realize, well, if I was using Micro.Blog, I could be using these super easy apps, and I wouldn't have to manually set certain kinds of links myself because Micro.Blog already supports that. And so it's pretty interesting, actually. It's a good space for people who want to just blog again, And I noticed you had Greg from Agile Tortoise, Drafts Greg, which I have been a big Drafts user for a long time. And I think it's got a similar aesthetic, which is, instead of diving into Twitter yourself or diving into the whole internet, you can blog on Micro.Blog and syndicate your content to all the places you want it to go without actually having to go to those places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, we're in this tech lash, right? And everyone's like, "Oh, Twitter's so toxic," and Facebook is horrible. And it's like, but there was something we all fell in love with before, and you can still have that, right? You can still have that on Micro. Do you call it Micro.Blog or Micro.Blog?
We call it Micro.Blog because Micro.Blog is a generic term for short, blog posts. Like Twitter is a micro-blog if you want to be pedantic about it. A tweet is a micro post, but so Micro.Blog, just to distinguish ourselves from microblogging in general, which you don't need to be on Micro.Blog to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually showing you how you can do this in Drafts, because there's a microblog connection. So I'm just microblogging here. I swipe this in and I say post to microblog, and boom, it's done. Except that I think I'm logged out of Micro.Blog right now, so I'll log back in. Done. I can also toot, and I can even toot and Micro.Blog if you want to. You could tweet and Micro.Blog if you really wanted to. Crazy that might sound. Yeah.
No, we have support for that as well, because you can cross post to Twitter from Micro.Blog.
Right.
And then also we support Mastodon interactions. So you can be a Mastodon entity just from Micro.Blog and interact with Mastodon, and Mastodon people can interact with you and be on the timeline with you.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's really great. So you support whatever that is, New Social or whatever.
ActivityPub, I think.
ActivityPub, yeah.
That's really a Manton question, but I think that's what it's called. And the interesting thing for me, I have worked on trying to figure it out, because I'd like to help other people understand it. But because every Mastodon instance has different rules of how they're going to serve up replies and so forth, I noticed that some people on some instances, we can interact as if we were on the same platform, whereas other people, unless they're totally ignoring me, and I will find out.
They're not. I promise you. That's funny. Yeah, actually, I'm a big supporter of this. This is all part of a movement that's called Indie Web. And Kevin Marks is often on This Week in Google talking about Indie Web, and IndieWeb.org has more information. But the idea is that we can take away things like social media from these big surveillance capitalism companies and put it back in the hands of people. And it's people like Matt and Reese who really believe in it so much that they're putting their heart and soul into it. And it's a tough row to hoe because, after all, Twitter and Facebook are completely dominant in this area. Right.
But I think if you step back and say, we're not trying to be Twitter or Facebook, we're not even trying to be a tiny infinitesimal fraction of what they are. We're just Micro.Blog, right. And with X number of users, we're perfectly sustainable. And our users don't want to be connected to the entire, globe. They just want to be connected to people who care about this level of interaction and about, civility. Because, boy, it's really interesting to hang out on a timeline like this where people
are nice.
They're nice. What?
It's unbelievable.
No, they like listen to each other. They apologize if they've been a little strident, and the person who gets the apology says, "Oh no, you don't need to apologize. I shouldn't have said that. I apologize."
Wow.
As somebody said the other day, "Whoa, a double apology on social media." So I didn't mark this on the calendar.
It's never happened before. It is, and I'm glad you said it's not trying to be Twitter, because honestly, if it did try to be Twitter, it would become Twitter. You become as big as Twitter, it's going to be like Twitter. Yeah. And so I think that's the whole idea of indie web, is that many smaller communities can bloom and thrive at just supporting the people who use it. And I'm glad to hear that Micro.Blog is self-supporting, because that's very important as we understand these days.
Yeah.
Yep.
There it is.
Jean, thank you so much for coming
Thanks,
on.
Megan.
Enjoy your time near WWDC.
And
yes, that's right. I'll be a Dub adjacent for the whole week. I'm sure I'll see folks around, and please say hi to me.
Do you bring the guinea pigs with you, or do you leave them?
Oh my God, it's like, that would be a guinea pig's nightmare.
I love it. We had a beautiful guinea pig. Freckles John was his name.
Oh.
Yeah. And he fell ill and passed away. Although I have still in my collection some beautiful guinea pig X-rays about this yay big. They're gorgeous. I don't know what.
Yeah. I've seen guinea pig X-rays, and it's pretty impressive. But but they are not allowed on planes. For
what? But that's clearly a comfort animal.
But you know what? They have this teeth, and they like to chew on rubberized plastic.
Yes, so I discovered. Yes.
You do the math.
I never let them in the office again.
That's Grace.
Yeah, right. That's Grace and Ada.
Grace and Ada. Grace Hopper and Ada Lovelace.
Yes, and go to the fundraiser. Go see Jean. Are you playing any place else besides the fundraiser?
No, just that. I don't think so. Yeah, just it's my one gig that keeps me, as a credible performing musician every year. Baby.
So find Jean. You're at also Micro.Well-Tempered. That's
her Micro.Blog.
And Mac Jeannie, and find her
everywhere.
Now there's a picture on the homepage of the show with I looked like Serenity Caldwell on the ukulele. I don't know. Now that she works for Apple, I wonder if she could take the stage. I hope so.
I can't say. I don't know. All I know is Apple employees have appeared on our stage before.
Wouldn't that be fun?
I love playing with Serenity. We have been at several conferences where we have jammed together, and she is an amazing performer, and it would be a shame if that beautiful talent was not shared with the world. That's all I'm saying.
Do you also play with Lori Gill?
Lori, no, I don't think so. I don't know. Do I know her?
Her singing would really fit. She's kind of more of a punk style. Maybe.
Well, I'd love to have some punk songs in the repertoire.
I'll tell Lori if she's coming down to WWDC to look you up.
Check us out.
Near WWDC.
James Dempsey and the Breakpoints. This is a tradition that goes back even before App Camp. James has had a band. It's a tradition that goes back to James when he worked at Apple, and he decided to write a song about I don't know, memory management. And and after that, the rest is history.
There they are at WWDC. There's Serenity. Yeah. I think you can see Serenity wailing on her uke. If you, the website is livenearwwdc.com if you want to buy tickets.
Yeah, it's a great, fun party. And I think there'll be some good deals on App Camp merchandise, but
yeah, clearing them out. No, you know what? If a lot of people show up and you raise a lot of money, who knows? Maybe next year it'll come back. You never know.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's true. You never know.
It ain't over till it's over.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jean.
Take care.
Yeah,
Thanks,
you too.
Jean. Great to see you again, Jean MacDonald. Wow, this has been a really fun tour of WWDC people. And do you want to do news?
Yeah, so we got to talk about the
new iPods. How
iPod
exciting
Touch.
is that?
They
still make the iPod?
They haven't. They haven't updated it in 4 years, but
They
they really still
again,
haven't updated it.
They kind of. It's got a 10
It's
now. Of
different
course,
inside, but not
the
outside.
A12 is the current.
Right, so it's like an iPhone 7. It's got the power of an iPhone 7, the A10 Fusion.
With none of the phone capabilities.
Yes, exactly. But
So
who
basically,
needs
it's an
that
iPhone
anymore?
7 without a phone, and I think the real market for this tends to be young kids.
Kiddos.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's 32 gigs, $200, 128, $300. You could pay $400 if you want $256.
You might as well just buy an
got-
iPhone.
Yeah, the same 4-inch Retina display, unless you don't want an iPhone. But I don't know. Yeah.
And you can do FaceTime. In fact, now because of the new processor, you can even do the new 8-way or 30. I don't know if you can do 32-way.
You can
but
do still group FaceTime. Yeah, I don't know how many. And it has a headphone jack. So there's that.
and a home button
So
and bezels.
I have a theory on this. You know how Kindles for kids are so cheap? Like you can get them so cheap because then you're locked into the services, right? Well, Apple is becoming a services company. There's the
Sure,
the
it's one more
gaming,
way
the
to
Apple
participate.
Arcade.
In fact, they promote Apple Arcade.
So I really think that is kind of what they're aiming at here. Like get them when they're young, before they really need a phone or a phone number.
It's also the first time an iPod Touch has been capable of AR.
Yes.
So that's going to be a big thing too.
right. So
It's it's for the 12-year-old. And by the way, because you can do messages and group FaceTime if you're on Wi-Fi, it does mean that it could replace a phone for people as long as they were always near Wi-Fi. It just doesn't do LTE.
yeah, and that's the thing that is curious because a lot of parents justify the purchase of an iPhone for safety, but that's not going to help you if you're like left on the street somewhere, or like.
Well, that's where you should get. But you could get for $400. Probably even less. You could get an older iPhone.
Yeah, I mean, you could get an Android phone for $200, but
you could get. I wish I brought my little phone. You can get.
you could get that
$12.
Yeah.
You can get a little Nokia 6610.
So I don't exactly know who the market. I know that iPod Touch. The market for iPod Touch used to be 12, 13, 14-year-olds when you would wait till the kid was 15 or 16
now
to get
nobody
him an
waits.
iPhone. But no one waits. So, and there's no reason, I mean, you might wait because you don't want them to get into social media yet, but like you're not, there's all kinds of social media on this. So
yeah, you can put Twitter and Facebook on this. But I should also point out, you can also put audiobooks. You can put music. I mean, I think there'd be a lot of people who don't want a phone. This might be a sensible device.
Yeah, and if you don't want to pay, I mean, you don't have to pay it per month for a cell phone plan with this. But
I mean, you could buy a more modern device probably for a similar price without the SIM chip, not have the phone capability, but you'd still have the...
Right, or give your child your old iPhone when you upgrade.
I think
and
that's
then
probably
go
what
put
most
this.
people do these days. That's why it just surprised me to see them update this. I mean, they never took it off the store, so I know they, we're still making them.
Right, I'm not buying this for any of my kids. I'm not buying it for me. I want to know who's buying it. Like if you were buying this, Megan at twit.tv, I want to know, or find me on Twitter.
I'm sure there's use cases or Apple wouldn't make it.
Right, exactly. But I want to know what they are.
It's so funny though. I didn't anticipate us saying the new iPods are out anytime soon.
I know.
On the show.
It's been a while.
Wow. iOS 12. It's up to date. Does the latest operating system. So I guess we should add that when we talk about the iOS devices we cover on this show.
The iPod, yeah.
iPod Touch.
I guess. I don't know.
That's the last iPod,
I mean, you think it's going to be the last?
Well, I'm just saying they don't make any other iPods. It's the last product branded iPod.
Right.
And I suspect if it was 4 years since the last time, I don't know. Will we see another update ever again? This may be literally the last iPod.
The last iPod.
You should go to Rock Camp for Girls.
I should. So since our last episode, Apple sent out invitations that we did not get to the keynote. They had some Animoji on them. They had a monkey, a robot, a skull.
I'm so done with this. So over this.
The invites or Animoji or things exploding out of
all
things
of
brain?
the above. We'll see 10.15.
Yep.
The new Mac OS. We'll see iOS 13. I'm very interested in that because I have an iPad, the latest iPad Pro. Many of you do as well. And reputedly, this will be some special features for the iPad Pro, making it more computer-like.
And I had one other piece of news that I wanted to mention because I found it fascinating. So I saw it on 10, which is Medium's tech blog. Ray Finucane, he's a 75-year-old engineer. He has Parkinson's, and he has developed an app for himself that has to help him with his pill intake. So I guess when I read this article, the idea with Parkinson's is you don't exactly know when it's going to be bad and when it's going to be fine. So you can't like plan ahead to decide like, oh, I'm going to go take a walk. You like will suddenly be struck sort of with the symptoms. So he thought, as you know, being an engineer, that he could develop an app that would tell him when to take the medicine. So it would be a way to monitor the dopamine in the body so that he could know if he was going to be bedridden or not. And it predicts the cumulative effects of a particular medication. So that's the issue is that you don't know exactly what you're going to need. So he's currently looking for an expert. This isn't FDA approved. It's, when he brings it to doctors, they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. That's complicated. If you've ever gone to your doctor with some sort of technology that they're not familiar with, often they'll be like, no, just let me do my job.
But he does have an app. He made it, or he's looking for somebody to make it?
He made it. He had someone make it for him. Like, he's told them exactly. He has an app that he uses, but it's not available anywhere, nor will it probably be available anytime soon. But I just thought this was really interesting. Like, I'm just fascinated. When we were talking about, like, developers earlier, like, engineers, too, are fascinating because it's like, well, I have a problem. I'm not going to lay in bed and, just complain about it. I'm going to just figure out a way to solve it.
There was a day in the earliest days of computing when people did write their own apps to solve problems. In fact, I remember George Morrow, who made one of the earliest inexpensive CPM computers, Morrow Computing, said, if I use a program, it's because I wrote it. He says, I don't want to use somebody else's canned software. Those days are long gone, but it is a good reason to learn, a scripting language, some coding, because it is kind of nice to scratch your own itch.
Exactly. Speaking of scratching your own itch, you had a problem.
I still have a problem. Oh, what problem are you talking about?
You asked people to find a shortcut that would automate. Do you remember last week we did homework?
Yes, because I want it so that when I get in the car late for the show, that it will, I always have to remember to open the phone and send Megan a message, I'm on my way. I would like a shortcut that would automatically send, I'm on my way with my current location and ETA to Megan.
So a lot of people have been working very hard on this, including Anthony.
Thank you.
Who I just got a Slack from him that said, I'm on my way. I was like,
it must work.
And I don't think it did work. But okay, so first let's see. Darren sent a link to this shortcut. So here it is. It's travel time to home.
Okay.
And I am
That would work. Because I could make it travel time to work.
Right. So here, let me see. Here's my library.
Incidentally, this is a huge security problem, but no one at Apple or anywhere else has addressed this. If you, you'll go to Reddit, for instance, and there'll be a lot of shortcuts on the subreddit, and people just add them willy-nilly. Before you execute a shortcut, please read through it and make sure it does what you think it does.
Okay, that's going to be, someone asked about that. That's going to be
It's
our
a
next
huge
episode. Okay.
security flaw.
Here is, I'm not going to run it, but here's what he developed.
See, there you go. So you can look at it, and you can
yeah.
really see that it does what it says it was going to do.
So calculate travel time to get home. This shortcut can be configured for different transportation methods and can be invoked from Siri or the widget.
Nice.
And you would enter your address below.
Perfect.
And then here's the street address.
Yeah.
And then enter the unit of distance.
Okay,
So
I'm going
how
to tell you how many feet
far?
away I am.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to do that. I think that would be fun.
Send me a text.
I'm 7,843 feet away.
Exactly. And then you could, if you're walking, let's say, or if like one day you decide to take the bus, you could say that. And then
I am moving at 50,000 feet per hour.
and then there's a bunch of other stuff. Get the variable. Does this make sense to you? Because
Yeah.
So
you have to know what you're doing to make this work.
So if you take the route,
I guess if you ran it,
to
it would
take-
ask you for all that stuff,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
so that's
Good.
one way. Other people, I got lots of answers.
Oh, nice.
Larry says you'd like to put a shortcut with a message to X if you leave your house. The hands-free shortcut would be to use IFTTT,
Yeah.
geofence if exit area, send message.
Yeah.
Hands-on shortcut with Glimpse. You'd have to use the app Glimpse.
Glimpse is gone.
Oh, then you're not going to be able to use that.
I used to use Glimpse all the time. I think maybe I'm wrong, but I thought they stopped operation.
Larry says the problem with the assignment homework is that your device doesn't know where you're going when you leave somewhere or if you get in the car. That's why you'd have to do the shortcut to say where you're
Maybe
going.
Glimpse isn't gone. I apologize. I thought they had gone out of business, but you can still use Glimpse. Oh, I could even do this on an Android device.
And Bob says, unfortunately, it sounds like Leo can't have his iPhone send an automated text to when he leaves his home unless he manually triggers that event himself.
No, that's the whole point. I can manually trigger it.
Right.
What would be the point of that?
A shortcut cannot be triggered automatically at a specific time, location, etc. That's what Federico Vitici says.
Oh, well, Federico says it.
And then Bob in St. Charles, different Bob, I think, says if Leo has an iPhone XS version iPhone, he can install Launch Center Pro, the paid version, which will launch a shortcut when the iPhone detects a specific NFC chip. Put an NFC tag on your car's phone holder, and it will launch the shortcut.
Nice. Nice. That's a new feature because NFC used to be locked down to Apple's Apple Pay only, but now Apple's opened that up. So that's very
good
nice. So there
work,
are some
students.
I could put a little tag on the dashboard when that says, the tag says, "Let Megan know you're on your way," and I could just tap it. That would work.
Yeah.
That would work. Or I could put it on the side of the door or my forehead. I think that's a good idea. All right. I'm going to get to work on it next week when I'm late.
Okay.
Expect a text.
And
It may be slightly garbled.
we do have a video question from Mike that you already answered, but let's play.
Let's hear it because I think it's an important topic.
Hi, Megan. I love using Siri shortcuts. I find them extremely useful. I've even written some ones that are actually pretty good. But I have a question for you. I found out that some people online have made some really, really good ones. And I'd like to download them, but I'm not really sure if they're safe because sometimes they ask for things like your address book, and I'm not sure my contacts would appreciate that. So thanks for all the good stuff you do. Bye.
So the best place to go, in my opinion, for shortcuts, of course, Federico Vitici's Mac Stories is great. He is the most prolific author of shortcuts. But many, many more shortcuts from a variety of other people are on Reddit at /r shortcuts. The problem with that is, and I'll just pick one up somewhere here, a shortcut that grabs a random post from a subreddit and displays it. What you'll see is, in order to install the shortcut, you'll have to go to a website. Often people put it on Dropbox. In this case, it's on something called Routine Hub, which is maybe a little bit better place to get it. It's a website devoted to shortcuts. But nevertheless, unless these places are carefully vetting the shortcuts, when you get a shortcut from this location, it's really important that before you run the shortcut, you actually see what it does. And you can add it to the library safely, I believe, but then you're going to want to examine it before you where did it go? Oh, here's my library. You examine it before you actually run it, just as you did earlier. That's really important. I think there are a lot of people now who are not shortcut savvy who have discovered that they can go to places like that website, the Get Routine, and are just downloading and running them. And that's very, very dangerous. So you're not, shortcuts can do a lot of things that you don't want them to do. I think Apple prevents them from doing things like putting malware on your system, but he makes an excellent point. Downloading your contact list is pretty bad too. So routinehub.co, I should say, .co is a good place to go. Also the subreddit /r/shortcuts. But please, please review the shortcut before you execute it. You don't know what it does. And if you don't understand a shortcut, I would say don't execute. So that's too bad, because it means that people who are using shortcuts have to kind of learn about shortcuts before they use them. And I wish that weren't the case. But a shortcut is a program. Anytime you run a program that you got from an unknown source on the net, you should absolutely check it out.
All right, we have one more video question. This is from Jorge from Puerto Rico.
Hello, Megan. Hello, Leo.
Hello, Jorge.
I have an Apple TV. I think it's 3rd generation Apple TV. And the problem that I have with it is that every time I surf around with, this little remote control, and I can watch Netflix, I can watch Hulu, but when I want to watch MLB, baseball, something strange happened. It doesn't play the game. Let me show you. I have here my Apple TV, 3rd generation. And as you can see, I'm gonna navigate around everything. But when I get to the MLB TV app, I go inside, accessing MLB, it's loading. Then I go to today's game. And for example, let's see if I have something running right now. This is live. So when I want to hit the play button to watch it, it just doesn't play. I can go escape. I can go, let's see if I can go to maybe Netflix. And if I want to watch something, I just recently watched by Jorge. I love Ultraman, that's a great one. Love Voltron. And I can hit play, and it plays. As you can see, it plays well.
Plays us.
Okay.
Plays Netflix. But it doesn't.
I don't know what happens
play baseball.
With the MLB icon. Every time I want to watch a game, I just can't do it in my old Apple TV. I think maybe it's time for me to, maybe
start watching more soccer.
For a new Apple TV or
no, we can
contact
stop this
MLB
because I know
to
what's
see
wrong,
if
and
they
it's. I'm pretty sure I know what's wrong. It's commonplace with Major League sports of all kinds. He's geo-blocked.
I don't think so, because he said he could watch it on his phone. So I think it is, well, I know because I looked it up, that MLB app doesn't support the old Apple TV. Like he was using the old Apple TV.
So I'm glad you knew. I thought it was just geo-blocked.
That's what I asked too. We're like,
I have that trouble all the time watching Major League Sports, where usually, though, it'll say something like you can't. So it just doesn't work on the old
which
Apple
is
TV.
why wouldn't it say, like, this is not supported on the 3rd generation Apple TV?
Well, he's getting box scores. He's getting some stuff.
Yeah.
He's just not getting the game
So,
itself. And
yeah,
maybe even get audio.
I think it is time to upgrade if you're going to want to watch.
Okay. Okay.
But, yeah, so it's unfortunate. But, before we get to our app caps, I think...
Time to talk about my blog. We haven't talked about my blog.
No, we haven't talked about it. We've been talking about your
Other people's
Micro.Blog, but not
one of the nice things you can do with a WordPress.com blog is micro-blog it.
Yeah.
It's a really nice relationship. In fact, the thing I really like about WordPress from day one is that it is very open. It's an open platform. So it works well with the indie web. In fact, there's a whole section on indieweb.org about WordPress. Good news. You can use your WordPress blog to participate in the world in all kinds of ways. WordPress is phenomenal. I think one of the reasons WordPress is so well supported everywhere you go is that it powers 33% of the internet. WordPress.com is the best kind of WordPress, the best flavor in my opinion, because they do the hosting, they do the updates, they do the security, and they give you support. And by the way, not just, kind of ad hoc support, but support from real WordPress enthusiasts and experts. I know every time I ask for help from the WordPress support team at WordPress.com, I get very fun, exciting, interesting answers from people who clearly share my enthusiasm for the platform. That's nice. And they're there 24/7, which is even nicer. WordPress.com lets anyone pursue whatever it is they love, whether it's your business or your personal site, your poetry, your art, your music. You can launch a site that's free to start and has the room to grow. I actually have the business plan because I can do e-commerce there. I have access to a whole bunch of interesting plugins. It's just a really nice solution for anybody. But you start at the level you feel most comfortable with. The whole idea of WordPress.com was anyone can publish their ideas here with no 2-week trials, no hidden fees. And most importantly, and it's right there on the site, you can upload content, but you can also download content. You can put anything on your WordPress blog. Text, pictures, music, video, but you can always get it out too because it's your content. And that's not true on every site. I highly recommend you go to WordPress.com. It's built to grow with you, to get you where you want to be tomorrow. Everybody, especially young people, you should have a website, a WordPress.com site that shows you off to the best advantage. What do people find when they Google your name? You want them to find your WordPress site. WordPress makes it easy. With great SEO, search engine optimization. Their customer support team can help you in every way. You get stats, you get information, you get the best content system ever with the best content spam management ever. Millions of people use WordPress.com every day to turn their dreams into reality. So do I. LeoLaporte.com. That's my WordPress blog. WordPress.com/twit if you want to start a new blog. And if you want to get a paid plan, you'll get 15% off any new plan purchase if you go to that website. Businesses, you too, man, in fact, it's even more important. You got, a business without a website is like, I don't care what it is, I'm not going to do it. I need to go to your website. Everybody does. WordPress.com/twit. 15% off your new website at the best place to make that site. WordPress.com/twit. We thank WordPress for their support of the show. All right, time to don the hat of shame. How would you like a big Hawaiian punch?
I would rather not have a punch.
I'm not going to punch you. You're a pirate.
No, yes, arg. Is that what this is, a pirate?
It looks like a fancy pirate lady.
Yeah.
I don't know, should the bow be in the back?
Oh, I don't know. The tag is in the back.
Oh, you're doing it right.
Yeah.
I don't even remember that hat.
I don't know. Was it for a costume?
Might have been for a costume.
Lisa, you were wearing?
This is the hat, of course, that I wear whenever I go to the tropics.
Yeah, exactly. Or when you go on 3-hour tours.
3-hour tours. My Gilligan hat.
Yes. So we wear caps because
Why?
we talk about our apps of the week, our favorite apps, the apps that we've been using. I have to be careful because my hat covers up my iPad, so I got to be careful when I... this is a wide-brimmed hat. My app of the week, not a single developer that we've talked to has a ticket for WWDC.
Isn't that the weirdest thing? And we've talked to several now.
And it's
hard to get in.
It's hard to get in. So you don't need a ticket.
You don't?
You don't even need to go there. You could just download the app, the WWDC app. So this is put out by Apple. And it has all the sessions, so you can see, I could look at the Apple Design Awards, or I can do an active morning workout. You could just sort of have your, some FOMO. And think, and they're not labeled yet. You'll hear about this one through the grapevine. Ooh, secret. So there's also labs you can see. You can see all the labs that are going on. So maybe you do want to just go down to wherever it is. Where is it being held? Somewhere in, is it in Cupertino? Where's WWDC? San Jose.
It's in San Jose at the McHenry Convention Center.
So you can also watch videos. Mostly right now they have last year's videos, but they will have the videos all up here that you can watch maybe during the conference or after the conference. So you can go through and watch all those. You can see news. There's no news right now because it doesn't start. And if you are going to the conference, it's good. You sign in with your Apple ID. You can get push notifications about the things that you're signed up for. And then you can see the venue, so you can know where to go and important details like when to check in. And your code of conduct. Don't forget that.
Don't forget your code of conduct.
And then beyond WWDC, it will show you all the things, like the Alt conference. This is the free conference. A lot of people go to this. Serves developers and the product-driven community, so you can visit the Alt conference. So they're supporting other things too. And different stuff around San Jose. The Loop Bash, our friend Jim Dalrymple.
That's another good party. You bet.
Party. The talk show with John Gruber. And of course, James Dempsey and the Breakpoints. If you
there it is.
Want to see Gene,
nice.
You can see that link that we showed before.
Yep.
So yeah, try it out, the WWDC app. You can also change the color of the icon, which I prefer red because that's the color of apples. But if you want light blue, you can do that, or green. Some apples are green, I admit that. So that's my app of the week, the WWDC app. Whether you're going or not, check it out.
Okay.
Now I can sit normal because I can cover up my iPad. This is not the wider the brim, the more inappropriate it is for the app cap. Just FYI.
So what? So lean out.
Yeah.
Lean in, as Sheryl Sandberg said. So what's my destination? My destination
you need to open.
is work.
Oh, you're still doing your homework.
I'm just showing you that Glimpse is still around.
Oh, good.
I apologize, Glimpse, for your premature passing. And I'm going to just put my address, the address of work here. Petaluma, California. Thank you, Watch. Okay, I'm going to put that in as my destination. So now, oops, I thought I added that. Well, I'm going to tell you I'm going to the Wall Drugstore in South Dakota for some reason. And then it will share this until I arrive.
Huh.
So look at that, huh? Apparently, I'm going to South Dakota. And I'll be there at 8:49 tomorrow morning, just in time for iOS Today.
At the Wall Drugs.
At the Wall Drugs. Why is that in there? I don't know. I've never been to South Dakota. So that's not my app cap, though.
No,
and this was actually introduced to me by somebody who visited our studio last week. He was here for Twig. He's visiting from Australia. And he said, yeah, I'm an app developer, and I developed this app called Soccer AR. Now, I am going to play soccer with Megan. You know what I'm going to do to make this more fun is take this out of, look at all the balls. Oh, we now have a field. Unfortunately, the field is in the wrong spot, so.
Was the guest Joshua Kapersky?
Yeah, Kaspersky, yeah.
Okay, so I have the app too. Do I?
Yeah, so here's the deal. First of all, actually, we should check. We got to be on the same Wi-Fi.
Okay.
So which Wi-Fi are you on? I'm on demo.
I will be on demo too.
Oh, good thinking. Okay. Now join.
All right.
Okay. Ready to play some soccer?
Yes, I'm really good at soccer. I played on the high school team.
Oh, this should help you a lot. Okay, and now what? Let's go, baby. So I guess the field can be anywhere I want as long as we're on the... Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay. Megan's in red. I'm going to kick. No, let's... Oh, God, I just walked out of the way. Oh, she's going to kick me.
Yes,
Wait a minute. Come back. Oh, come back. Shane, did you get a goal?
No.
Where's the ball?
It's in the corner over there.
Is it a corner kick?
It doesn't... Is this indoor soccer?
I guess so, yeah. Oh, kick. You're going the wrong way. Wait a minute, my guy. Hey, guy, get over. Get in the game, you nitwit. What's my guy doing? He's just standing there. This is like playing soccer with 4-year-olds. He's running the wrong way. Where are you going?
Where's the ball?
he's going to the ball, I guess.
Oh.
It's here somewhere. I should have asked him how you play this game before. There's the goal.
We should have maybe screen mirrored so other people could watch.
Soccer AR. Well, they can watch mine.
Okay.
I could see you
running around.
Kicking the ball. I don't know where my guy is. Can you move?
Can I kick someone else?
Don't kick me. Wait a minute. There's the ball. There's the ball. I see it over in the corner there. Your guy's just standing there.
I'm kicking people.
Oh, I get it now. That's a joystick. Here I go. I'm coming over. Oh, I know where it is. Do you know where it is?
No.
Well, watch this. Goal! Goal!
Oh, really? Did you
1
score a
point.
goal?
1 point. I did. See, one. You have none. I
I'm
figured the
red
game
guy, right?
out.
Oh, you didn't realize that was the joystick?
Yeah. I just thought you pressed it.
I'm gonna just.
Where's
kick
my
people.
man? Go to the. Where'd you go? Anyway, this is free. Soccer AR.
You can't really kick people. I've been trying a lot. Oh wait, there's the ball. There you are.
Goal! 2-0. So much for your collegiate soccer career.
It's high school.
High school. Okay. Now I get it. Joystick working. Okay.
I'm just practicing.
How do we start over? Look, you can even see us playing the game on the big screens on the field.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. This is really actually a good
It
job
is.
of AR. I mean,
Yeah.
we're in the studio. I'm playing this on our table.
Well, can you play as women soccer players?
No, it's not that sophisticated. Just say you're gender neutral.
You're all white and you're all men. All right.
All right, shut up. Always with the thing. Just for that, I'm going to score another goal. I beat you 3-0. You lose. You want to play again?
Yes.
Goal! This is actually fun once you understand how. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. So it's not. You just lost it off the side of the field. Where's my guy? Where'd he go?
What are the other guys? Like,
They're not anything. Just ignore the other
so
guys.
I only have a forward?
It's man. Yeah, it's man on man. Okay. Or white guy on white guy. Goal! Oh, get back there. Where's my I can't find the goal. Okay, you get the idea.
Yes.
This is fun, I think.
It is fun. I really do
I
like
think
it.
you know who's going to like it is your kids. Because really, we're constrained because we're sitting here. What you want to do is run around. Like really do this,
right?
Because then you can see the whole field.
Yeah,
you can see the whole thing. Yeah, see, I could see you back here. Yeah, now, that's the thing. So it's hard. AR is always difficult for us to demonstrate on TV. This is fun, free soccer AR. Pay no attention to the fact that it's only white guys. It's cool.
Yeah, that's the good way to solve the problem. Just
I like it. iPad and iPhone. Actually, be really easy on the iPhone, but I like the iPad because. So remember, they demoed all of this stuff at WWDC last year. Finally, we're starting to get some games, and Josh told me he wrote this in Unity, which is a nice platform for writing.
It looks good.
Writing games. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
I'm impressed. He said it took him about 10 minutes. No, he didn't.
I doubt he said that.
No, he didn't say that.
Well, this show felt like 10 minutes.
It goes by so fast, especially when we're talking to great people like our guests, Greg and Jean. They were really, really good. Agile Tortoise, if you haven't yet tried drafts, it's free to try, and you must. You must. And Jean MacDonald, make sure you go to the show near WWDC and try out Micro.Blog. It's really fun. I'll see you there. And I'll see you here. As long as you're in the South Dakota Walmart.
Yes. We'll be here
Next
Monday,
week.
10 a.m.
9 a.m. Oh, Monday at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
That's
Monday
right.
at 10 a.m.
WWDC, we're going to cover the keynote. And so what we do, with Apple's permission, is we take Apple's stream of the keynote and we talk over it, basically.
Yeah.
So if you enjoy that kind of thing...
If you
Somebody said you should just press the pause button, but the problem is when we're going to talk, pause it. And we could do that, but then by the end of the keynote, we'd be like an hour behind.
Yeah.
That
We
would be
don't
no
talk
good.
over the good
We
parts.
try to only talk over the bad parts.
We're really good at this now.
We practiced for years. Join us 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 1700 UTC, Monday for the WWDC keynote. I still think there's other stuff they're going to announce. I really do. That we haven't heard about. I think some of the things have not yet been leaked.
Software or hardware?
I'm hoping hardware. They cleared the decks with the new MacBooks
And
with the iPod.
The iPod
Touch.
got that out of the way.
I think there's room for something like maybe a Mac Pro. I think they've got to talk about the Mac Pro. But we'll find out on Monday.
Yep.
We do this show 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern time, 1600 UTC, right here at our studios on Tuesday morning. Please come by and say hi. Join us for that. You can watch live or listen live at twit.tv/live. If you do that, the chat room is a great place to hang, irc.twit.tv, all the other people watching live. And if you can only listen on demand at your schedule and your schedule at your leisure, we have downloadable versions of the show, audio and video, at twit.tv/iOS. There's our collaboration survey. Last chance to take that. If you haven't done that yet, please do. We're interested in how you use collaboration software at work. And there's my mom. There's all the shows that all the shows that we've done are up there. You can also subscribe in your favorite podcast application. In fact, we encourage you to do that. That way you'll get the latest episode of The Minute's available every Tuesday. Thank you, Megan Morrone.
Thank you, Leo Laporte.
We'll see you next time on iOS Today. How'd you like a nice Hawaiian fudge?